from Charlottetown, and now you get to play in your hometown. What's that like?
You know, it's just the fact that I'm able to play on Prince Edward Island to me is huge. You know, as far as the switch, you know, it's not an easy one for anybody. You know, but as far as the switch to Charlottetown, myself, when I first moved to Prince Edward Island, I was about 5 years old, and I actually lived just outside of Montague. So, you know, I kind of started east of Charlottetown, and you know, eventually I moved to Charlottetown. So, I mean, I think as far as the transition, I think for people east of Charlottetown, I think it's a good move. You know, and to be central, you know, it kind of opens up a lot of opportunities both on the floor and off the floor. You know, for the team, not only for the players, but you know, for the organization itself. You know.
For the people who don't know your background, how exactly did you get into basketball?
Well, actually, I was a student at Stone Park Junior High School, and basically, I was just kind of taller. I was a little bit awkward, you know, and I was taller than everybody else, and you know, like any good gym teacher at the time, he invited me to try out for the basketball team when I was in grade 7. You know, I'll admit I didn't really like it. You know, I was a little bit of a multi-sport kind of athlete. I played hockey, I tried soccer, I tried baseball. You know, it wasn't really until I kind of hit grade 11. I grew from about 6'1" to 6'8" in about 7 months. Yeah, that was quite the change. So I started off pretty rough. You know, I didn't, you know, if I could go back and ask myself, you know, if the 28-year-old me could go back and ask the 14-year-old me, what do you think you'd be playing basketball when you're 28? I would say not a chance, you know. So I kind of look at it, you know, it's been a very kind of long growing process to get to this point. You know, and then from, you know, grade 11, grade 12, I was, you know, able to transfer it into a university program where, you know, I chose to go to UPEI and stuck there for 5 years. Won an AUS championship my first year. You know, so it all kind of started being just that tall, awkward kid with big feet in junior high school. And, you know, it just kind of blossomed into a love of the sport and a love of, you know, the camaraderie that you get with teammates and the relationships and the friendships and, you know, the stuff that you really build both on the floor and off the floor, for sure.
At what point did you think to yourself, maybe I can do this for a job and not just for fun?
That's a tough question. I would have to say probably right around my second or third year at UPEI. I went to an open men's national team tryout, and I ended up getting selected to go to the invite tryout out of the open. And yeah, I mean, after I spent that summer, I spent a summer playing, you know, against Team USA and Team Brazil, and the Tournament of the Americas was in Halifax. I believe it was 2003, 2004. You might have to look that stuff up, but I was playing against guys like Raymond Felton, Chris Paul, Charlie Villanueva, Sean May. You know, they were just, you know, unbelievable athletes. So I think after being exposed to that level of play, you know, I mean, I'll admit I was, you know, a 13th, 14th man on a 15-man roster, but just that whole kind of exposure to that level of play kind of changed my mentality towards the whole kind of idea of playing it as a job. But it wasn't until I think, you know, really kind of late into my university career that I kind of was like, okay, I can, you know, possibly make a little bit of a living at this. You know, and I stuck. Obviously, I stayed at UPEI. I graduated in 2007. And I traveled to a little town called Juni. It's in Lebanon, and gave it a crack at a first division pro over there. And you know, unfortunately, it didn't work out. Like you know, it does for so many guys. You know, guys get released, guys get cut for whatever reason, and you know, and I got released, and it happens. And so to me, that was an eye opener to me. And so I ended up coming back and going back to school. And then, you know, fortunately enough, 2 years ago, the NBL Canada started, and you know, it gave players like myself, who are a few years removed from the CIS level, an opportunity to get back into you know, a high level of play and gives us a place to play and gives Canadians an opportunity to play at home, you know. And for me, it's something, you know, very special. It kind of started out as, okay, well, I'm tall, you know, and then it transferred into, okay, I can use basketball to get myself into university. And then it kind of transferred into, okay, well, I can do this as a job. And then the job didn't work out. And then I went back to school, and then you know, the NBL kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of do it again. You know, it goes back, you know, probably to my late university years for sure. Whenever I kind of actually came into my own and figured out a style of play that I liked and kind of that suited myself, and you know, just kind of stuck with it. So, you know, kind of to go back to your first question, I would say my late university years for sure.
So you have been playing basketball the better part of your life. What's your most outstanding memory, something that really sticks in your head from all of your playing careers?
I mean, for some reason, I always go back to a Montreal tournament. I want to say it's called Hoop Fest, but I'm not sure. But it was my first in-game dunk. I was about 15 years old, just a little two-handed dunk in a game, and I'll never forget, you know, the feeling of going up and, you know, just actually dunking a basketball in a game for the first time. That's something that's special. And I mean, you know, the national team, you know, that it's very tough for me to pick one moment. You know, the AUS championship that I won in 2002, 2003, my first professional game. There's so many good memories and so many, you know, kind of positives that, you know, it's tough for me to pick just one that stands out the most for sure. But you know, any number of those things that I mentioned would definitely be on that list. I don't think I could pick just one. You know, I would need to have a top five, maybe in no particular order. I could pick a top five, but yeah, there's been lots of good memories for sure.
So you mentioned you got released one time. For people who don't play sports and know the game, what's the feeling that goes through you whenever the coach comes to you and says, it's all over?
You know, I mean, I was 23 at the time, and you know, that was my first kind of real exposure to kind of the business side of it. You know, unfortunately, what it boils down to with a lot of teams overseas is, you know, a lot of the pressure goes on the imports. And for myself, I have Canadian citizenship only, so a lot of the pressure was kind of on my shoulders. And yeah, so I mean, it's disheartening a little bit. You know, once you get to this level, you put so much of your, you know, your mental status into it. You put your heart into it. You put your soul into it, because you really do. You have to love the game to want to kind of play at this level. So you know, you really feel let down. You know, it's tough, but you know, and it all comes back to the love of the game. You know, it's all part of the process, and you might not know what the end result is, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you want something bad enough, and you know, it's just a matter of never giving up. But it's definitely it's a punch in the arm for sure. You know, but at the end of the day, it can only make you a stronger person and a better basketball player. You know, because you can, you know, kind of look at it as a scar. You know, and it just kind of you know, kind of breaks you down, but then it builds you back up stronger. You know, but it's definitely, it's not an easy thing. You know, I mean, I know some of the guys that, you know, have been released from our training camp this year. If I could go back 2 years and have some of the guys that got released this year, I mean, you know, you know, unfortunately, it's just part of it, you know, and there's no escaping it, you know. I mean, it happens at every level, even, you know, I mean, I could go back to grade 8. I mean, I got cut from the team when I was tried out in grade 8, you know, so I would compare it to, you know, the feeling I felt when I was 13, you know, is the same feeling I felt when I was 23 when I got released in Lebanon, you know. It's similar, you know what I mean? It's maybe a little bit of a higher level, but I mean, at the same time, it's that brings out that same emotion that, you know, you put so much effort, you put so much passion into it, you know, and then it kind of, it's like the rug gets pulled out from underneath you a little bit.
It all comes crumbling down.
Exactly, you know, but, you know, if you stick with it, you know, it gives you the ability to kind of build yourself back up stronger, you know.
So the last 3 years you've been with this team, you've proven that you belong, but initially there were a lot of a lot of skepticism whether or not you were on this team because you were from PEI, whether you deserve playing time or not. What do you say to those critics? And really, you've proven yourself after all this time, and your roster spot is safe as anyone right now. And just tell me what it was like constantly having doubt about your game.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit, if I could go back, if I could take myself right now and play myself from last year and the year before, I would, kick my own butt. I have put a lot of work into it, and to be honest, I kind of try to, not necessarily put a whole lot of attention on it. For me, my biggest thing is, in my heart, that first year that I came out with the team, I knew in my heart and in my head that I could compete. I wasn't necessarily looking to compete right away. I was basically kind of looking for a chance to prove myself. I would compare it to kind of my 5 years at UPEI. I started off in my first year just as a guy who would set screens and rebound. I might have averaged 0.7 points a game, But then by the time I was in my 5th year, I had averaged 16.8 or 17, whatever it was. So to me, it's not necessarily a sprint, but it's more of a marathon. I mean, like you said, I have shown that I can play and I can compete, and and I do kind of have the IQ to play at this level. But I mean, as far as what I would say to those skeptics, I would say just keep it coming, because it gives me motivation to want to be better, and at the end of the day, that's why we're here. We're here to be better athletes. We're here to be better people in the community. And as far as just kind of being on the team because I'm from PEI, I mean that's part of it. You can't, there's no escaping it, and I'm fine with that, but I didn't necessarily make Team Canada because I was from PEI. I didn't get my first contract in Lebanon because I'm from PEI. It's because, I do have the ability to do some things, and it's, like I said, it gives me motivation to prove that I can, not only play, but I can compete, and that's what it's all about. And, to me, it gives me motivation to want to earn minutes, I mean, last year, there were times where, I wasn't playing at all, and at the end of the day, no matter what anybody says, as long as I understand why I'm not playing, it's fine with me. I don't care what other people think. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as I go to practice and I work as hard as I can to make my teammates better and to make myself better, that's why I'm here. So, keep it coming, because it gives me motivation to be better, for sure.
All right, my final question for you. This year, there's a lot of talk that this team might be the best team of all that was ever assembled on PEI. And looking at last year, you guys made it to the finals. So what are your thoughts on that roster you guys have going into the regular season now? We're still we're young in the season. You guys only been together a few weeks at this point.
Yeah.
So what exactly do you have and what do you expect?
I mean, I think that we're going to be a tough, hard-nosed team. I mean, we have 6 guys returning. Greg, Al, Antonio, Tiz, myself, and Nick. I mean, the 6 guys who kind of understand the system and how to play within our system. And then we got 6 guys, who are remarkable athletes who all have high basketball IQs. I mean, we compete every single day in practice to make each other better. And I mean, I think we're going to put a product on the floor that it's going to be exciting, both on the offensive end. But I mean, I think defensively we're going to be a tough unit. Everybody, like I said, we all have relatively high basketball IQs, and we all have a will to win. Guys like DC, Derek Coleman, can put pressure on the point guard. We've got guys like Armani. He's another stretch 4, but he can also play some 5. Sean Van Zandt, like Samaj, you can go down the line. Like we have guys that have played, Sean played back-to-back Final Fours. We have guys who have played in high-pressure situations.
You're 12 deep.
We're 12 deep. Ashton can play the 2-3 spot. Like we are 12 deep, and if one guy goes down, there's going to be 11 guys there to pick him up, and we're there to support each other. And the 6 guys who made it to the finals last year, for us, it's vital for us. Anything other than making it to the finals and winning is a disappointment. I think that we'll be tough, we'll be competitive, and hopefully put a good product on the floor that PEI likes, and not only PEI but the whole NBL. That's realistically at the end of the day, that's why we're here, to make our team successful and to make the league successful. So